Hello, gorgeous humans. Oh, good morning. How are you feeling? Welcome to the morning show. I am your host, Marli Ansel, and this is the morning show. I am so excited to kick off with you today. But only on that, I love that we do this. I love that we do this. In truth, I've hit that luteal drop as we have talked about before on the show. We have 4 phases of the feminine cycle. If you are male and you watch this and you don't know this, you need to know this. If you are female and you don't know this, you need to know this. Directly after ovulation, as a female, you hit what is called the luteal drop, and your hormones go whoomp. And what that feels like in turn is I don't wanna. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to move. I don't want to talk. I don't want to do anything. So this is where we're at today. And ironically, it's a very busy day, such is life. So today we're talking about the mirror principle. If you have never heard of the mirror principle, get ready to have your mind blown. It's very quantum physicsy and how our entire universe works. And specifically, we're talking about how to use this principle to shift the humans around you. Now, I'm guessing that you are probably like every other natural, normal human, and the people in your life can trigger you. Your partner can trigger you, your children can trigger you, your coworker can trigger you, your boss can trigger. People are triggering. Amen. And what we find ourselves in a lot of times is wanting to make them different. I need you to be different so that I can feel better. So, today we're going to dive into how to leverage the mirror principle. And if you haven't heard of it, I'm going to explain it. The mirror principle to shift the humans around you. It's going to be very, very fun, very witchy woman magical today. But before we do, let's talk about these cosmos because there are things. Is there not? There are things happening. And I do feel it is all centered around this Pisces new moon. This Pisces new moon has some energy to it. Are you guys feeling it? Do you feel a little like, ugh? It's almost like oh, it feels like a shed. It feels a little bit like a shed to me. So if you have never been in my world, we talk a lot about energy shedding. Shedding is essentially letting go of an old vibration as you're moving into a higher vibration. And it can feel a little daunting sometimes, especially if you're very attached to it. It can come out in the form of getting sick sometimes, or just being really, really tired. So that's kind of what I'm feeling with this new moon. I feel like it's a really, really good thing. Amber said yesterday was OIW for do. I have no idea what that means. um, I think that this new moon's a really good thing. I think it's amazing actually. I think that it is a rev up energy where, new moons are always about new beginnings, but I feel like we have been being prepared for this. And that's kind of the energy it's giving me. It's like we've been having to shed out a lot of old stuff. We've been having to let go of old energy, old vibrations to make room to prepare for where it is that we're going. And so I feel this energy is like it's like a rev up. Uh, we're getting ready to go. So whatever you got to do, get ready for it because it's about to go. So we're here for it. And, on days like today where my energy is low, but I have a lot on my to do list, a lot on my resume requirements of being a business owner, a coach, and a stepmama and doing all the things. It's very much an energy of, okay, just surrender. You're going to do the things because you got to do the things. That's what we do. We take care of our life. That's how we operate. But there's not anything extra required of you. And I really kind of enjoy these days, to be totally honest. I enjoy having that feeling that is almost like, I don't care, but in boss energy. Do you know what I mean? It's almost like I don't give a, I'm going to do me because that's what I do. But I feel no requirements to be overly exuberant. I feel no requirements to do anything extra. It's like I'm gonna be a boss like I be a boss, and that's it. And I may not even smile at you today. It's kind of how I feel. And I kind of like it. So let's dive in. Let's talk about our topic today because I think you're gonna really love it. So, the mirror principle is essentially that everything in your snow globe, your personal reality, is reflecting you in some way. Now, we can kind of get behind that really easily in terms of like, oh, okay, so the abundance I see is reflecting the abundance within me. The way situations are playing out are reflecting my belief about them. The way that I am operating in my life, my business, my career, my relationship is reflecting who I believe I am. Okay, I can get behind that. But then when it comes to other people, we're like, no, 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 no. That human, mm-mm, mm-mm. They are a whole thing. That person, you need to change how you be. You need to change how you're talking. You need to change how you act, right? When it comes to people, we're like, that's a totally separate entity, even though it's in your snow globe. So when people in your life show you something loudly, it is showing you a part of yourself. It's not the whole of who you are, but what you're seeing in them is not the whole of who they are. So I want you to take this in for a second. You get the version of people that reflects you. It is not all of who they are. The people that you interact with, even the people that you feel like you know inside out, your partner, your children, all of these people that you are with day in and day out, and you feel like you know them. You do not see all of who they are. And I'll prove it to you. I want you to think about this. Your partner, we're going to go your husband, because this is what I have experience in. Your husband has a solid, like, core identity of who he is. Absolutely. And you know that version for sure. But the version of your husband that shows up with you is not the same version that his coworkers get. Am I right? Isn't it true? The version of your husband that shows up with his coworkers or his employees, if he's a boss at his job, is not the same version that his best friend gets. Isn't it true? The version that his best friend gets is not the same version that you get. Isn't it interesting? So, saying all of this to point out that the version of people that you interact with is only one version of many versions of this human. So, the question that comes into play here is, what is the version that you're getting telling you about you? Whew! Okay, let's back up a little bit because it can get like real responsibility filled real quick. So let's think about this. I'm going to give you a story of how I operate with this. Whenever I get triggered by my partner, by my husband, whenever, there's something, and I'll say this, a lot of times with my husband specifically, it's not something he does that will trigger me. It's the worries that I have. And I think a lot of people can relate to this. It's like I will start to worry about some future potentiality that could happen if he doesn't change this behavior or this habit or whatever. I'll make things up in my head. And then you go on that wheel of worry. So, when this happens, because I am who I am and I know this work, what I do is I stop everything because a lot of times what our instinct to do is to be reactive and to go straight to your partner and you try to get him to be different. But like nobody likes that. Okay. Nobody likes that. Nobody wants to be on the receiving end of that. And it's not fun being the person who's doing it. That's that whole like naggy thing. It's like nobody wants that. Nobody wants to be told how they should be doing it better. You know what I mean? So, what I do whenever I catch myself in this worry wheel is I sit down and I say, okay, what am I actually wanting here? And where am I not taking full ownership for myself in this? Where am I not owning my own stuff about this? So, an example, if it's like, you think that your partner should communicate differently, your partner should communicate his feelings more or something of that nature. And your actual fear is something that's projected way into the future. All fear is a projection of some story you're making up that's going to happen in the future, that you fear is going to happen in the future. But the majority of the time, nothing's going to happen. It's made up. But when you're in this state of being, it can feel very real, can feel very, very overwhelming. So when you're in this wheel of worry and you're projecting into the future, you've got to stop projecting into the future for a moment and come back into the now. So whenever that happens, and I'm doing that, I bring it all back into the now. So in our example, you want your partner to communicate better and you're irritated because you feel like he doesn't communicate. And if he doesn't communicate, then your connection is going to break. And if your connection is going to break, then you're going to end up getting divorced. Like it's this like tumbleweed of worry into the future, right? Pull it all back in. Pull it all back in. What he is doing is mirroring to you where you are not fully owning your capabilities of communication. And you could be like, no, 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 I tell him everything I feel. Okay, well, that might not be the way, right? You're wanting him to communicate in a better way. And so your strategy may have been to over communicate, but that might not be the best way to do it. It might be showing you where you're lacking empathy or understanding for a different form of communication. So whenever I'm facing with something, I always go and say, where am I not owning in this? Or where do I have this myself? It might be that you lack communication as much as your partner lacks communication, but you're waiting on him to start it so that you can start it. Right? Or if you think that he should, finances is something that seems to be always a thing between partners. You think he should spend his money differently. He should be more responsible. He should this, he should that. And you're trying to project and control so that, and I want to point this out to you, it is all so that you can feel better. It's not because what he's doing is right or wrong. It is so that you can feel better. So you've got to get back to why you need this in order to feel better. Do you see what I'm saying? It forces you to take ownership over your own life, your own snow globe, your own perception. So if you're in the perception of projecting onto your partner, you're going to be experiencing a situation that feels frustrating, angering, suffering because you're trying to control something outside of you. But what I want to point out to you is that all it's showing you is you. It's just showing you a part of yourself. It's showing you a part of yourself where you feel as though you're out of control, where you have something that is a direct reflection. Sometimes it's direct, sometimes it's just pointing to a part of you that is insecure or a misbelief or a limitation, something inside of you. So I'm going to give you another example that will make it even more simpler. Just this morning, so our youngest is a little entrepreneur. The girl loves making money, like after my own heart. Go out there and get it. Independent, let's go, right? So she is always conjuring up ways to start little mini businesses. And right now her thing is she's making earrings and they're cute. Like I've bought some earrings from her because they're cute. She's making earrings and selling them. So it's fun for her, but obviously you start a business, like number one, that shit's spiritual. It's going to take you through a lot of lessons, but she's doing it at a very young age, right? So she's starting this business and immediately she's learning a lot of lessons because since it's a fun thing, obviously she wants her friends involved, right? Kids, adults, we learn. Don't go into business with your friends. Right? But as a kid, she's doing it. And she likes it because she feels like, this is her thing. She's the center, and then she's providing entertainment and fun for her friends, and they're making money and blah, blah, and all this stuff. But when it's all said and done and it comes to the actual money, that's where things get seedy, where her friends feel like they are owed money because they helped her. And she's like, no, 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 because it's all my product and it's my business. So I don't owe you anything. So, anyway, the conversation that we had with her today was, if you're going to run a business, you have to ensure that all of that communication about who's getting paid and for what is clear before you start any sort of selling. And so, as we're trying to explain it to her, she's getting very defensive. She's defending why she did what she did. And then she's blaming her friend. And then and her sister was involved too, which is just like a whole thing, blaming how her sister acted, all of this stuff. Project, project, project. One, she's not taking ownership at all, right? Which we preach in our household, and a lot more with this particular child than any of the other children. But she's projecting outside of her, wanting them to be different, instead of taking ownership for, oh, I did not communicate clearly. I didn't have a conversation with my friend saying, hey, I would love for you to do this with me and help me. I'm willing to pay you this much if we make this much. So we're trying to explain this to her, but she's like defending, defending, defending. And Robert and I are just both like learn something. Come on. you know, we're getting triggered because she is blocking, 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 not wanting to learn. Now, this girl does have a thick ego. She truly, truly does. She will like fight you for what she believes is right or to defend herself. We're working on it. We're helping her. She's very powerful too. So they leave because they have to go to school, right? So we can't sit here and have an hour-long discussion about this because you got to go to school. So they leave, and I'm still running it through my head. You know how that goes, right? I call them shower fights, where you're still arguing, you're making up your side of things, and you're winning, but you're like the only voice. You know what I mean? So it's still running around in my head. And I'm like, why does this bother me so much? You know what I mean? Like, she's a kid. She's good. Like, of course she's going to be like this. And of course we want better for her, but like, she's a kid, but I'm still thinking about it. It's like preventing me from being able to meditate because I'm still thinking about it. So when this happens, you can see how easily it would be for me to blame her for like, you need to learn, you need to be open, right? Very easy for me to project even onto a 10-year-old. Listen, we do it, okay? I'm just calling it out. So instead of that, because it is very, very easy to do that, the ego is a very, very strong energy. Instead of that, what you want to do is go, okay, what about this is so bothersome? She is like everything that you want to say. She's not listening. She's defending. She's not going to learn to be able to grow, trying to teach her something that will actually work. And she is refusing to hear what will actually work. Okay. Write it down, write it down, write it down, write it down. And this is the part where you're going to get a little like, I don't want to, Marli. You have to then look at everything that you want to say to that person and say, where am I not doing this? Where am I defending my way without allowing someone else's perspective to teach me? Where am I unwilling to change what I think I know? Where am I being a stubborn little and it is actually preventing me from growing? Where am I doing these exact things that I am wanting her to change? Mirror principle. The thing that is the loudest from the people around you is the thing that is trying to show you a part of yourself that requires being seen, requires acknowledgement, requires growth, requires you to learn something. And I know we don't like to do it. All right. I know we don't like to do it, but it is the only way. And refusing to do it is literally the same thing as if You were, or I was, my 10-year-old little girl who is like, no, I know they did this. They needed to be different. Refusing to look at this is the mentality of being a 10-year-old. Okay. I said it. I said it. So, if we want to be powerful, if you are someone who wants to have the ability to shapeshift the humans around you, I haven't even gotten to that part, to shapeshift the humans around you, the first thing that you have to do is take ownership over what they're showing you. Because what they're showing you is something about yourself. Now, when you can do that, and you can do it from this, you got to step out of the ego. You know what I mean? Because the ego is that part of you that just like block, defend, block, defend. You're the problem. I'm great. That's it. Right. So once you can look at it from like this third party perspective where you're like, okay, I can see where maybe I am a little stubborn in my ways. Okay, I can see where I get defensive about what I think I know, and I think other people should be different. Okay. Oh, I see this. And it will probably, especially the louder the trigger is, the more pertinent it is that you heal it now because triggers and emotions get louder the more that they get closer to creating a physical manifestation that is going to be your next level of getting this lesson. So the faster you can get the lesson, the better. If you can get whatever life is trying to teach you at the emotional level, you are winning in life. Because if you don't get it at the emotional level, it inevitably will manifest into a physical result. And when it manifests into a physical result, it's going to force you to get the lesson. That's another talk. But in this moment, you're going to look at, oh, okay, I see where I'm doing that. As you work on that very thing within yourself, it will shape shift the humans around you to show you a different reflection. Because if there's nothing to mirror, then it is not going to mirror it to you. Everything in your reality is mirroring something inside of you. So if you shift the image that's being mirrored, then what you're seeing is going to shift. So as I work on that part of me of being stubborn and unwilling and blah, 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 and all of this stuff. And let me say this, people will be an amplified mirror, meaning that part of you is probably this small. You know what I mean? It's not huge, but it's something you need to look at. Like I said again, every single human has I'm going to say infinite cuz a number just seems like futile here, an infinite number of different versions of them, and you're getting the one that's showing you mostly you. You see what I'm saying? So as you shift this little part in you that they are being an amplified mirror of, you're going to see them start to shape shift. They will start showing you either one or two things will happen. They will not show you that part of them anymore as you heal it in front of you, inside of you. Doesn't mean that it's not in them. Okay. Doesn't mean it's not in them. It means that they will not reflect it to you anymore. They might reflect it to someone else who has something similar. So they will not show it to you anymore, or slash, they will upgrade into the same energy that you have upgraded in. Now, this is where stuff gets really, really cool because I'll tell you what, then one of the number one things that all of my clients have come to me with is I'm working on myself. I'm doing my mindset beliefs, but my husband is not. How do I get him to be different? That is one of the number one belief systems or number one problems that my clients have come to me with over the years. I'm doing it, he's not doing it. And at the foundation of it is fear. I am fearful that if I up level and my husband doesn't, then we're going to split apart. And I'll tell you right now, the answer is you might. You might. I don't have a say in that. But what I do know is that if you be the leading example and this partner is your partner, like nothing can break that. Nothing can break that if that is your partner. Do you feel me on that? But you want his or hers or their mindset to shift. As you are working on your own mindset, let's make it money mindset because that's one of the number one things that I hear. Money mindset. You're working on your money mindset. You want to have a beautiful abundance mindset. But then your husband's coming to you with like, don't spend money on this and we can't afford that and blah, 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 and all of those things, right? What you want to do is leverage it. He's showing you where you still hold these belief systems, where you still fear you can't afford it, where you still fear that you're spending too much money. He is showing it to you just like that. Use it. Use it. Like whenever, someone comes up to you or he comes up to you with one of those things and you're like, stop it. We're trying to have abundance mindset. Okay, first of all, we cannot willpower our way to abundance. Okay. Like we don't willpower any kind of mindset. We got to dig in there and say, okay, why do I feel like this is not natural default for me? And you got to get into those belief systems as you start rewiring those belief systems. It's rewiring your subconscious mind. As you rewire the subconscious mind, your default programming changes. So there's no willpower involved at all. You're literally rewiring for a more upgraded mindset. So as he's saying it to you, you go, oh, okay. So I'm still holding on to that. All right. Thank you. And then you go and do your work. You go do the work that you want him to do. Did we just see it come full circle? And as you do, one or two things are going to happen. He's going to stop showing it to you, slash upgrade with you. Or if you up level so much and your partner does not, and that is not your partner, again, soul contracts, there are fated things here, then you might split. But you don't know. And you've got to continue to own you, work on you. And everything shifts in your favor as you do. So as you hear his belief systems and you go, oh, I gotta write that down because he's showing that to me. I still have it in me. He could not show it to you if it did not exist in you. Do you feel me on this? So you go write it down. Get excited about it. Like, oh shit, all right. What do I need to work out here? What reprogramming needs to happen? There are a ton of different techniques to reprogram. I teach so many. From rewiring the subconscious mind at the mind level to, I don't teach this, but you could look into tapping. Tapping is a really beautiful method to move energy and to shift the mind. It's just like tapping on these energetic, energetic meridian points. Breath work is great. There's a ton of different tools. But as you rewire, reprogram your belief system, it's going to shift and change the mirror around you, including people. What do we think? What do we think? I think you should try it. I think you should just try it. If you've never done it before, just try it out. It's going to make your marriage so much better because you're no longer coming at your partner with the things that you think they need to change. That is, nobody likes that. Nobody likes that. And then also with your children are some of your biggest teachers. I mean, I cannot tell you how much these kids have taught me about myself, places that I have blocked, like blocked love. That's been a huge, I'm still kind of working on that, like opening the heart chakra to receive this much love in my life. Like for the first, this is a whole other talk, so we'll just say it quickly, but for the first like year, 2 years, I was always like continuously shocked at how much they loved me. Do you know what I mean? Because I'd never been a parent before for one, but they always wanted me around. They always wanted to be around me. And I just remember feeling like this feeling of me? Like me? Like why? you know? So these kids have taught me to receive love in a way that I didn't even know was possible. But the people that are closest to you are going to uplevel you inadvertently and directly. They're going to. They're going to show you where you're holding back. They're going to show you your limits. They're going to show you your belief systems. They're going to trigger you with things that need healing. And it is the whole point. This is why we have relationships, because in truth, we are all part of the same whole. And when we can learn to kind of leverage what is around us to see the growth that is required, you're going to have a much more beautiful experience, for one. But two, it just shows you how vital we are for each other in all ways. Strangers on the internet, someone triggers you on the internet and you catch yourself blaming them, saying what they are, blah blah blah, all that stuff. What's being triggered in you? A lot of times triggers are what I call ruffling the feathers of your potential. So if you see someone showing up online and they're just really owning who they are, they're owning their power, they're talking, they have the audacity to show up every single day, and it triggers you, ruffling the feathers of your potential. You know that there's something you could be doing that you're not doing. And you see someone else doing what they're doing at their full potential. It's going to ruffle you. It's going to trigger some stuff, you know? Or like seeing somebody at the gym really getting it, and you have some sort of thought about them. It's like, here's this person completely not worried about what anyone else at this gym is thinking about them and just getting it. Meanwhile, maybe you're a little self conscious and you're thinking a lot about what other people around you are thinking about you. So you're not going full out. Triggers are ruffling the feathers of your potential. All right, my loves, we're going to wrap. Thank you for being here. Pay attention to this today. If someone triggers you, or, the flip is true too. All of the goodness, all of the love, all of the joy is showing you as well. But we tend to pay more attention to the things that are uncomfortable, which is why we end up talking about them more. So pay attention. If someone triggers you for the day and you're just like, "Ugh," and you want them to be different, ask yourself what it is that you're wanting them to be different in. And then ask yourself, what am I not owning in that? Where am I not doing that? Where am I not taking responsibility for who I be in that same way? All right, my loves. I love you so much. Thank you for being here live. If you would like to send a question into the show, we are now doing Friday Q&A. I have a couple of questions lined up already. But if you would like to send your own question into the show about your life and your energy and your mindset and whatever it is that you have going on, you can send your question to assistant@marlyansel.com. All of the info will be in the notes below. Or if I know you, you can just send me a message on the Instagrams or whatever. So if you want to send a question into the show, do so, because I love it. I love answering your questions. It's so much fun. And if this resonated with you today, please share the show. Share it with somebody that's triggering you. Be like, look at this. It helps us to grow our impact, and I appreciate you guys so much. I love you. We are here every morning, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m., talking about all of the energetics, all of our personal power, how to manifest and create a world of miracles and magic, and be our best selves doing it. It is such a vibe. I love you for being here. Thank you. I will see you guys tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. for another episode of The Morning Show. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Have a beautiful rest of your day.